than usual. And some of us are even wearing flowers. Some of you are wearing flowers. There is a story behind all of this, and I'm going to share a brief version of it with you. Unitarian Universalism is now found in many countries around the world. The oldest Unitarian churches that we know of are in Romania and Transylvania. Another church was founded in Prague, Czechoslovakia in 1921 by a man named Norbert Čapek and his wife, Maya. Norbert Čapek, like most of us here, did not start life as a Unitarian. He began as a Catholic. This is true of many, many Unitarian Universalists. He started as a Catholic, then he became a Baptist, and then he became a Unitarian. He was encouraged in this by his wife, Maya, and there are many different versions of the story of how this came about. But the fact of the matter was, he came to the United States to study and to work in a Baptist congregation. When his second wife died, he married his third wife, Maya, and he and Maya moved to East Orange to join the Unitarian Church there. He was the minister there for quite some time and was very much influenced by the original minister there, Walter Reed Hunt. When he left the United States to go back to Czechoslovakia, it was about the time 1920, 1921. He and Maya had officially become Unitarians, and they went to Prague with the idea of organizing a liberal religious church in the city of Prague. Most people in Czechoslovakia at the time were Catholic. There was a lot of dissension and a lot of, what shall we say, change taking place in Czechoslovakia. Mind you, it's the end of World War I. It is the period leading into the Great Depression and eventually into occupation by the Nazi army that suppressed the entire country. This is the period in which Norbert Čapek and Maya were trying to create a church of their own. Those of you who are members of this church know how difficult it has been to get this church up and running. And this church is now 30 years old. Well, as one way to address the differences and the discomforts of the various people who came into those meetings in Prague, Norbert and Maya came up with the idea of a flower service. It is sometimes called here the flower communion, but I've read that Norbert did not like using the word communion. He was trying to take people away from Catholic ritual. So he called it the flower service, and sometimes the flower ceremony, but most Unitarian congregations are determined to call it a communion, so by God, did I say that? By God, it is the flower communion. And in this, what we are doing is celebrating the fact that we're together in community, which is what the word communion refers to, community. So, on that first day, they asked each person who was coming to the service, and this was always in June as he celebrated it, but is in different months here in the United States, they asked each person coming to bring a single flower with them. And these flowers were brought forward at different times during the service, and they were consecrated and gathered in large vases like these. And at the end of the service, each person was asked to take a flower home with him or her, a flower that you did not bring with you. The idea of looking at the flowers, just take a look at them. They're different in size, in shape, in duration, in blooming time. Some of them originated in countries far away from here, some of them probably closer to more native to this country. But they're there quietly sitting together, showing off their colors. They're not fighting. They're not arguing. They're not debating. These are all qualities a lot of Unitarians have. So I invite you to consider the lilies of the field in that sense, to consider how these flowers all grow together, how flowers can all be in the same garden, as we too can be in the same garden, if we make space for one another, and if we find a way to live together in right relationship, as the flowers do. So as the service goes on, I'm going to say more about Norbert Čapek, and I'm going to do a consecration of these flowers, which is something that he did hold on to when he was doing a flower service in Prague.